All right, mic back. I think I got everything back up running here. Playing with the fire that is good old Blender. Sometimes it gets a little bit tight on the old system resources, and I'm pushing it right to the max tonight. The funny thing is, of course, now I'm running a Discord server, or I'd started doing so. Command Decision 48. Might watch this later. Ah, that sounds fun, actually. Following along the lines of failsafe, eh? Or that's what it sounds like. Very likely a black and white movie, hey? That's my favorite. It's the ones I go for. Okie doke. Here's the stills blend. I'm going to save this as before I do anything else. Stills B. And then if I go to the base cut, get rid of that. So now if I go to video editing, there's only this one. Yeah, okay. I'm working on my B roll. I'm trying to save all the memory I can here. So I'm in Blender already, but what I did was try to load it and have it ready to go before I started screwing around with window sizes and the like. And I think probably part of the issue with what I'm doing right tonight is Blender's working with audio which is in AC3 form or ACC form. So when I start to get to work here, I'm got to be careful about what I'm doing so as not to overload Blender's limited memory resources. Crashed just like that. Bam, down it went. Not a chance. Crashed just like that. Whoa. If I didn't know better, I would say somebody didn't want me to show people how to do video editing for free. If I didn't know better. So yeah, I got Blender open. It's going to work. You guys like it or not, I don't care. Hang on a second. Here we go. Cam only, still images, should be good, is good. Okay. So now what I am looking for, Shift S cursor to centers. What I'm looking for is the frame when the text counter falls back into visibility. Set a keyframe on both. The counter at this moment in time will read 3. I hit I for a keyframe. If I go back to the previous keyframe, we'll see it'll remain 2 even though it's reading at a value greater than 2 there. Because it has no decimal value, it's only the full number point. And then every 10 frames it advances, it deals with what's happening. So finally it reaches 3 in time to come back on screen. And at that point I'll do the same here and just set 2 more keyframes. Simple stuff. And to set a keyframe, I hit I key. While hovering the mouse over it, it changes from green to yellow or to orange. The counter, when it next appears, will be, I'll hover over it and set it to 4. And so it goes. A wrist bandolier, clearly visible. Product placement, and not chronologically correct. All right, sniper school part. So there's a frame drop off, perfect. Back it comes. I. This one goes to 4 and I.
Number 4.
Click, click, I. And that's it. That's it. Simple as that. But here's the animated text object, which, sure, it needs a bit of keyframing. Sure, it might be easier. It might be an easier way to do this, like by printing up a whole bunch of numbers in advance. But when it gets down to it, I now have control over that number in a whole bunch of different ways. I can now make it move, and if I move it once, it'll stay moved for the next time it appears. Things like that. That was a funny little bump in internet broadcasting. I don't know if it was all memory related. I would imagine it is. As I was saying, or trying to say, I've tried to put Discord onto my computer. And because of Discord, I think this may also be part of the issue. So I'm going to log back into Discord now while I'm at it. Oh. Wait, no. I totally just clicked the wrong link there. Maybe that'll still work, I don't know. I have to tell Discord not to remain resident in my memory. That just pisses me off. And while I'm doing that, Linux settings, minimize to tray. Voice and video, input volume, output volume, push to talk. Push to talk working? Check, 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 check. I wonder, can I test it anyhow? Huh. Kind of weird. Yeah, I'll connect in one. I'm listening now in the telephony exchange. It's sort of my phone ring too. I wonder what it might be. What was giving me issues tonight? There's power outages through the province. Oh, the wind's finally caught up. Nope, didn't lose power here. But the internet has been weird. I've been getting weird bumps and lag and the like, so that maybe that explains it. Maybe that's entirely my issue here. It's not my computer. Right. So the 3 or the 4 just disappeared there.
No is the answer.
Huh.
Answer.
Again, memory issues. I know I've done this. I know exactly I've done this. I'm positive I know I've done this. Internet is terrible here tonight. The windstorm is blowing a gale. Bad winds tonight. I'm going to take a chance on something. I got a choice now in stills A or stills B. Since I got stills B started in the other one, I can get rid of this. This is the regular one. I can get rid of the overlays and adds side of the project and just stick with the American Sniper original edit. I want the audio, and the audio only for the project's length. But what I want is audio of a different form than what's currently been rendered. Audio is currently set to AAC, and that's not going to work well. PCM is wave audio, or MP3 would work. Even Vorbis in a pinch. And I'm going to turn the bit rate down. And I have a button here for render the scene's audio as a sound file. And here it now gives me a second option to choose, like to verify what I want. I want a bitrate 128 Vorbis using Vorbis, OGG Vorbis. Split channels accuracy. The lower the value, the more accurate. I'll go 512 on this one. This will be under Fufferpish. This will be under renders, audio, snipe. And I remember I've got an error in there. Base cut. When I hit the mix down button, it's going to start. It's going to take a while. It's going to look like the thing freezes up. I'll show you what I'm doing. So before I hit the mix down button, I'm going to move this window back a bit, make it smaller. And let's hope and pray. Going to take a minute or two to do this. It says 30 minutes or 40 minutes worth of video. 40 minutes worth of audio, more to the point. And while I wait for that to do its thing, I'm going to possibly stop for a minute or two and think about what I'm going to be doing the rest of the night if this thing won't work well. Probably working off screen to do the work that I'm showing right now. Which would suck. And there is a proper windstorm occurring outdoors. Just thinking about what I could play here. Yeah, you can hear that. Did you hear that? I don't see desktop audio playing through. Yeah. This is The Who. Covered by The Who.
I tried this here beginning of February, actually, or January. This is by The Who. Was the best she'd ever sang. She couldn't ever sing any better. But Mr. Davidson never rang. She knew he would forget her. She'd seen him there and held herself to ransom. He had smiled college via applause. Triumphant, it was the way she felt as she saw him at her dressing room door. As he praised her for her grace, but his expression changed, she had seen, as he leant to kiss her face. She left him there, he claimed a late appointment. He returned, she hides her disappointment. As she ripped her glittering gown, couldn't face another show. No, her deodorant let her down, for she should have used odorone. So now it's smooth sailing with the highly successful sounds of wonderful Radio London. Thank you. That would be the Who there, yeah. Anybody else play the Who? Anybody else know about the Who?
Building up. Blues nose. Science fiction.
This next one is a Stan Rogers song. I had a request too for no, not for Guns N' Roses actually. One for Chris Christopherson earlier. I had a request for Jesus is a Capricorn. I'm actually going to play a different one, but it's Chris Christopherson, so it follows the pattern of Christopherson songs. Called The Pilgrim, chapter 33. See him sitting on the sidewalk in his jacket and his jeans, wearing yesterday's misfortune like a smile. 'Cause he used to have a future full of money, love, and dreams. He spent like they was going out of style. But he keeps right on changing for the better or the worse, searching for a shrine he's never found. Never knowing if believing is a blessing or a curse, or if coming up is worth the going down. 'Cause he's a poet and he's a picker, he's a prophet, he's a
Every
buster,
bit of 75, yes.
and a preacher and a problem when he's stoned. 'Cause he's a walking contradiction.
Every bit of 75.
Hardly fiction, taking every wrong direction on
Gusting.
that lonely way back home. That's right, lots of long directions on that lonely way back home. 'Cause he's tasted good and evil in them bedrooms and them bars, and he's traded his tomorrows for today.
And then some. I could do that on the spot if needed. Don't need to replay that one. I like it though. Mixing down audio. Takes a while to grind through it, but it's worth it. How many people we got lined up here? How many people on? Just one. Primary stream having a little bit of problems tonight. No surprises with the wind. Oh man. Play a little bit of music, the thing goes crazy. Been hunting the Colorado. It can be, especially because you don't know when the next broken limb is going to decide to come on top of you. We've been getting a lot of windstorms at night. That's not normal. That's something I've never noticed until lately. Crazy bad windstorms at night. Oh my goodness. I'm wondering whether or not I can ever do stuff like Blender while using Discord at the same time. That's possibly not going to work. Hey, it finished. Excellent. Let me go to the other option. Stills B. I'll go back here in video editing. You can see that both of these have a waveform currently enabled. They don't need one. I'll go to the beginning. Go to the audio we just rendered. That's the base cut audio. Huh. Way longer than expected. Not going to work. I'm thinking of ways that I can cut down on the memory restrictions I've put on myself. One way would be this. If I take this and back, I can move this one this way. Yes, I can. I'll delete this side. Blame solar cycle. I don't know what I'll blame. I'll know one thing for sure. It ain't getting warmer. Not this time of year. I want this to snap to that end. Number 81 was where the screw up was. I'm going to draw the waveform for a second.
Number 80.
Right there. Get real close to it, real tight. Right there. Don't need number 80 in there at all. So I'll have it. What I'm going to do is keyframe 1 there, keyframe 2 there, keyframe 3 there, and 4 there. And then numbers 3 and 2 will be reset to 0. So now there's a cut. There's a simple cut there for this number 81, which I'll have to do again and replace. This should cut down the memory requirements for this particular project. 8 Fahrenheit. Ooh. It's blowing. It's cold. It was cooler here today than it was. I would think it's going to warm up here again overnight. Although the wind has come around from, it's more northwest tonight. Seems to be strong northwest. I might be wrong about the direction, but it's certainly has that character to it. Certainly feels cool, like one of those. So where was I? Oh yeah, I was right about here. Looking for the next keyframe. I could play this.
No is the answer. There's a witness right next to him, and the witness does.
I really picked the wrong audio rendering. Stow. I wonder, I'm going to try something else. I've got a general purpose audio converter here. It may take an MKV. So I'm banking on it taking an MKV. have an MKV. Shoot. Pufferfish renders. That's the audio I need. Preferences. Same folder. Same as input, replacing the suffix. And it's Ogg Vorbis with high quality, normal quality. Target bitrate. Resample should be fine. Let's try this one. It's going to take a minute or two to convert it. Faster this way than using Blender. General purpose sound converter. Available for any fine Linux desktop. I can see the calculations are chewing away at my available processor though. Gonna take a while. What I'm trying to do here is convert the audio to something which will play in Blender with less memory restrictions. I mean to say AAC is great audio for when it's being played on the web, but it's not great audio when it's being played through my machine. Works wonderful on an Apple machine only. Upgrade, damn it. Yeah, you know, I'm going to have to start mining bitcoins or something before that can happen. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I've been thinking about that one. That'd be a way around it. You know, I've got a couple computers sitting in the house doing absolutely nothing, and they're never running anymore either. If I was to set up one or both of those, never mind. I'll get to that later. If I was to set up one or both of them, I might actually be able to do something about the requirements for equipment in the next little while. That's true. So I just rendered this file. How big is it? It says 40 megabytes for the audio. Let me move that one down here and see. It's the same size. I could turn this waveform off. If I go to draw the waveform on the top one now. It'll take a little while to load. Same thing that I just did with the last one. One keyframe. Actually, I think what I had done was 93% or something. I'll keyframe that there. So go forward a key or a single frame. Go to the other side of the clip, the number which I'm removing, and set two more. So this one will go to 0. This one will go to 0. That gets rid of that. I can hide this and just...
Kyle, new PowerPoint. Product placement. But the audience has no more idea of where the hell the people in this sequence actually are than the people in the sequence do. According to the book, Kyle didn't train to be a sniper until tool number 1 ended.
There's a lot of crackling on this track, and I don't know if it's to do with Blender's playback or what. I'm curious about this. Curious enough that I need to know. I will go to Pufferfish. I will go to Renders. I will go to that file and load it in something else, just to see.
A numbered list of readers are 52. Than the people in the sequence do. According to the book, Kyle didn't train to be a sniper until tool number 1 ended.
none of the crackling there, then it's definitely a Blender audio issue. It's to do with the way that Blender's rendering this audio. Curiousness. Back to default. Back to here, skip forward. I want the counter. The next usage of the counter is some seconds away from here. Here we go. Flip it back on. Turn the keyframes to the current one. Increment the counter. Turn the counter off. If the roof gets ripped off the house tonight, you'll certainly be the first to hear it. Increment the counter. So we can see here that the counter is making its way through the numbers nice and easy. But I do have to do a keyframe for each of these things, which is, you know, a couple hundred clicks. But all said and done, not a terribly hard thing to have to do. And at the end of the day, having the numbers done is just an overlay, then drop onto the final render and nothing to it. Yeah, what would the other option be? I'd have to manually create the numbers anyway, save them as still files, and put them in just the right places, which could be done, but I like this option better. I also have the option of rendering this as a video file of the exact same length as the other one and merely blending the two of them together. I and I. Yeah, I have to admit, I have been thinking a little more today about what it would be to finally set up a system for myself here where I would be able to grind out the odd Bitcoin or something similar. I understand that there's alternatives in terms of the particular currency you want to make. And some of them would be worth more than others, perhaps in the near future. There also is a question though, like, whose particular data are you crawling through? You never know, right? Do you really want to know is another question. So these are fairly easy points to find because I've already positioned them a certain number of frames apart. I'll only have a minimum number of clicks to find the next point. I'm using Shift. Bitcoin price is FOMO. FOMO. Yeah, it wouldn't be you wouldn't want to be buying into the whole Fear of missing out, yeah, partly. Partly, but not entirely. There is only a limited number of Bitcoins. That is the point. So the thing which makes me laugh at it right now is the way that they're grinded out. It seems to me that if you were to provide it with another seed, some other kind of seed to start, you could get another 18 million. Which case, yeah, maybe it starts to make a little more sense to me. Position 10. You can see now that I have to recenter this because the first set of numbers were at least centered already. So I'm gonna, now I have to do 2 other keyframes. That's what I'm trying to say here. I want the keyframes here to be as they are, 9, 10, but I want 10 to be centered. So I'll set this keyframe as a location, and we'll go to the next one. I'll grab it on the X and move it back so that it's centered again, or closer to center, and then hit location again. So now I get the effect that I want. And since it's not visible when the actual motion occurs, then there's no worries of seeing what I'm not supposed to see. I and I. These are all regular cuts of a certain number of frames, which is excellent. I didn't make too many changes to that.
Reality is what deacons do best. Number 9. Shooting the rodeo. Number 10. Rodeo belt buckles are to ensure a sex life.
I wonder, can I make my audio silent here, or does it get the audio as well? That's a curious question. I've got it loaded twice into memory. No proxy full render. I should probably use a proxy for it. I'll leave it on full render for now. I have a funny feeling that that's part of the issue here. Is what I'm doing is playing 2 audio clips.
Number 11.
One over the other one, and that's the reason why all this popping and clicking. Yeah, that one, right? In. Make sure that's 11 is now 12. It's 2 seconds. It's always 2 seconds. I and I increment the number.
Number 12. Righteous indignation because he watches CNN whenever he can't find Fox on the television. Number 13. Recruitment.
So yeah, what was the one I was reading about here earlier on today? Because if you cut off new investors, Bitcoin is done. There's only a limited number, and they're getting down to the end of the run too, right? That's the point. And then there's an actual use for the data which has been encrypted, or what could be encrypted by the coins themselves. There's actual physical use for the numbers. The blockchain bit, that I consistently forget that, what else it's been protecting. What else blockchains have been protecting, right? Like many millions of microtransactions which need ongoing cryptographic protection. Little tiny transactions, you know, what do they call it? Micro trades, where it's stuff being traded on at fraction of a second values, right? The time increment between exchange, how to put it, the tick rate. It's the tick rate. Of all things to call it the tick rate. $14. What was the one I was reading about on here? Look, I'll show you. Hard News Network, off topic. Look at this. People talking about what they've been doing. Don't sell it unless it spikes. What they're doing is banking up a currency before it's required, right? Like here. 0.82, 0.85, 0.65, 0.72. I'll leave the telephony exchange for the time being. Point being, of course, the guys that are doing that little trading thing there are having a field day because they're the ones that are grinding out the numbers in the first place. So they literally did nothing to get the money that they might potentially get by having the coin at the end, right? They've quite literally only mined the potential ore. You could consider it even refined ore at that point. You have the full coin, it's refined. It has been minted. That's what they're saying too. I mean, depending who you're talking to. If you've got a computer which is sitting around doing nothing, so of course the other way would be perhaps a little faster because I would know exactly where these cuts are coming, having made them once already, and they're explicitly made, so it's easy to see them. But it doesn't much matter here that I've got to figure it out this way. I still want to be able to work with timing, and I'm laying down a series of what do you call them? I'm laying down a series of keyframes here which are going to tell me the same information anyway. The length between here and here is the length of the cut. So it's always the space in between. In this sense, it's kind of like working with a, how to put it, like a sewing machine or something. Laying down two keyframes on either side. Click I, update I. Double check. Click an I, click an I. Bitcoin is done for another reason too, which is it is not secure. It's not as secure as it once was. The computer systems have changed enough that it's potentially breakable in a bad way. And it's because of the quantum computers. So Bitcoin is not necessarily safe against quantum computer involvement, whereas some of the other newer ones are, or at least they're being billed as being that way. And the reason why this matters is because if you can duplicate a Bitcoin, you've also managed to break the problem, break their bank. You'd know what the data was that the Bitcoin is potentially protecting. You can figure that out by a process of elimination by using the quantum computer to get the key. So it's funny stuff.
Number 19.
So I'm not using the audio for these cuts. I'm using video information. When the image pops up, I want the number gone. But the number will cover the difference. $20. Well, I can see where 21 is going to be. Oh, that one's shorter than the average one. If I get that ICO going, you could call it Jiminy Crippets. Incrippets, yeah, even Incrippets. Like it's a French thing. Wait. I was thinking about this last night. You were asking about Buddy Watts' name and the other fellers about their music and stuff. Hey, they listening to them for you would be much the same as a person from Montreal listening to a musical act from the Gaspé Peninsula. From way the heck out in the boonies. Compared to Montreal, the way they speak French is kind of like how we speak English. I'm in for a sawbuck. Yes, spy. I can't say as I know how to make a currency up from scratch like that, but that'd be nice though. No, what I'm saying is it'd be a good time to perhaps jump in on the blockchain of some other currency, if only because they'd be passing you packets that want to be resolved. They'd be passing you data which you need to, your computer is the one to crunch it out and then you send it back. If your computer happens to be fast and doing nothing else, you might even make a lot of money pretty quick. That's how they're working it. But that's what it is to be part of what they call the blockchain right now. You're on a chain gang. In another way of looking at it. You and any number of other people are all doing the same thing for the same numbers. Trying to avoid using the audio at all here in Blender. I think that would be the better deal. Keyframe, change this to 24. Double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back on the regular schedule there. Electronic Ponzi, yeah, it could be. That is also quite possible. The funny thing is what's being done with it. What isn't, I can tell you what isn't Ponzi. What isn't Ponzi is the use of the coinage as cryptographic. What's the right word for it? As cryptographic means. That's where the value comes from. I'm also kind of pay attention to the fact that certain conglomerates want to continue to conglomerate. They want to, like Disney wants to buy out Fox, say. There are other things stopping that from happening other than antitrust legislation. For example, cryptocurrencies might be protecting some of the intellectual property which they want to have and they can't get. Things like that. Some people that they don't want controlling those intellectual properties can control it because of the crypto. Funny, right? Like, why the hell did Joss Whedon end up doing friggin' Warner Brothers movies too, right? Somebody got some Bitcoin somewhere. Has there ever heard of? Just started Dragon Chain. Yeah, I know. Heard about it. That's kind of what I'm saying, is their some of their property is now being protected by this electronic currency, which you can help them build. But when you're helping them build it, you're also encrypting their data for them. That's what you're doing when you make those coins. They might not want anybody, just anybody doing that. That's an additional security layer to their currency, but does it make it any better? They robbed a lot of information too. Funny stuff. What was I thinking of then? Oh yeah, ever heard of PGP encryption? Public key pair. Pretty good. Privacy, i.e. PGP. That's sort of how the Bitcoin thing works, as I understand it. There's two large numbers which you need. There's two very special numbers which make it secure. One is a public key, one is a private key. So the funny thing is that the private keys will accept any public key of the right type. So you can get access from the outside with a key of any kind. You have to submit your key in advance to prove your identity. Not your private one, but your public one. It's an interesting concept, though. If you want to do a little light reading on things which are past their explanation date. PGP's been used for a long time now, and it's been used to good effect too. Works with email, works with chat programs, works with whatever. Hmm. 29. Here we go. Yet another one. So here's the next question. Are these drifting over off center too much from 28 onward? Or from 19 onward? So 19, I go back a frame. I go to insert a location, keyframe there. Go forward to where 20 is. I'm going to grab it now and slide it over on the x-axis. And insert a location. This now updates all the rest of the numbers. And so you see why it is that I would want to do it in this longer, tedious, drawn-out fashion, if only because I can now maintain more control over the way it's going to be presented, so it's going to stay the same. I would imagine if there's a Disney coin, like a Disney E coin, Dragon coin or whatever, I would imagine that some of, like if you're an employee, there might even be a plan for them to be able to be the people that grind the coinage out, and they get to keep, like part of the value is theirs to keep. They wouldn't have to necessarily spend it, but they could access anything business related via using it. Again, they wouldn't have to spend it. They'd only need to hold on to it to have the right to access what the business then has. It'd be the same as being a direct action shareholder. Do you see what I say? Do you see what I mean when I say a Bitcoin doesn't need to be spent to be used? You don't have to exchange it for anything. If you hold the coin, you actually have the right to access the value of the property. It's like having a key. But not anybody's going to be allowed to have those keys, man. Exactly. Oh, wow. Did I mess up the numbering scheme?
Planned, except he's like Indiana Jones, making it up as he goes along. Number 29, mentioned in the book. Number 28, not in the book. Number 27, number 2 in the book. 25 application. Number
Where did I skip it?
Number 23 explicitly states that Kyle wasn't. Number 22. Sniper School. The film doesn't mention explicitly states that Kyle wasn't trained as a sniper, volunteered. And the book explicitly states that Kyle wasn't trained. His behavior. Number 21. Yes. Number 22 explicitly states that Kyle wasn't for an intelligence job when he volunteered. And the book explicitly states that Kyle wasn't trained as a sniper until after his first.
This is wild, man. This is freaking up altogether.
Up for an intelligence job when he volunteered. And the book.
Man, oh man. This is totally getting on my nerves now. Why would this be screwing up? X this out of here altogether. I'll go back to that original one.
And the book explicitly states that Kyle wasn't trained as a sniper.
There's a huge mess up here. A huge screw up. And I'm going to have to re-render the program, or re-render the source file to be happy with what's going on. I'm going to get rid of that strip. Big one. Big time memory hole. Live events. Look at that. PGP encryption tutorial. This is from 2 years ago. I'm curious what this would have to say.
The new 2018
This is from 3 years
F-150
ago, and the guy monetizes this channel. But anyway. Skip the ad.
Beautiful people, welcome. In this video, I will teach you what PGP encryption is, what it's used for, and how to use it. So first of all, what does PGP stand for? Great question. It stands for Pretty Good Privacy. And let me tell you, it's a pretty darn good privacy system. How does it work? Well, first let me tell you how it doesn't work. Imagine you have a box.
How do you tell how it doesn't work? Lovely.
And you want to put something private in it. Something that only those you trust should be able to see. Something like a secret email, text message, or that naked picture of your cat. Yes, that is a cat. What would happen if you send that box and somewhere along the way your box gets stolen? They would probably use it for evil things. So what do? You would buy a box with a lock. Now what happens is that in order for the people you trust to see what's inside, they need a key. So you send the key, hidden under the box or something like that. If someone steals the box, it will not be long before they find that key and open the box. PGP fixes this. In this analogy, PGP is a box with not one but two locks.
With not one but two locks.
Not one key but two keys. Each key only fits in one of the locks. So key A will only fit in lock A, and key B will only fit in lock B. Each key and lock have different functionality. In our example, key A will be our public key.
A public key.
Public keys are used to lock boxes. Remember, they can only be used to lock. In our
Another way to think of it is only be used to lock or only used for a deposit.
example, key B will be our private key. Private keys are used to unlock boxes or messages. Remember, they can only be used to unlock. Now here's how you use PGP. If you want to send a message with the picture of your naked cat, you would tell your friend to get a box with two locks and keys, a public key and the private key. In order for this to work, your friend would have to send you the public key and the box. The private key would stay with your friend. This is the most important part of PGP. Keeping
So the person that you need to establish the connection with, they send you the box and the key with the public key, and they keep the private key. So when you lock the box with the public key later and send it back, they've already got the two keys they need.
the private key safe with the person who wants to eventually open the box. You would then put the picture in the box and lock it with the public key your friend sent with the box. The next step would be to send your friend the locked box.
So the funny thing about all of this, the way this ties into the blockchain bit, is because of what the numbers are used for in the end. The coins themselves can be used as these keys.
And like we said before, your friend
They can also be thought of as the box some of the time.
to open the box because he holds the private key, which unlocks the box. And in the end,
Or if not the box, the box with whatever's valuable inside of it.
your friend would be able to see your naked cat without the worries of anyone else seeing your cat. That is
Naked
a very
cat.
basic explanation.
Naked cat, that's awesome. That's a very good analogy. Shite. Blender's deciding to be really, really picky tonight. I'm 99% sure it's something to do with, it's more to do with, whatchamacallit here. Overlays? No, I want this one. I'm going to set this to render again. But I want to check what was going on here in the early part. Where were I? I was losing spot at about 29. Right here.
11th, 2001. This event is mentioned in the book. Number 28. Proposal for marriage. Kyle supposedly has everything planned except he's like Indiana Jones, making it up as he goes along. Number 29. Tour number 1, Fallujah. The book disagrees. Number 30. Man, they got this one sniper's been hitting head.
Okay. See, this all looks right. So what's the matter with my final render? Here's the inquiring minds want to know. Mine does. My inquiring mind demands to know. I'm going to set that, maybe not to OGG. MP3 will do, but it needs to be 128. AM sniper base cut. I'm going to re-render it. And damn the torpedoes. animation. It's going to take about an hour to do this. But I need to make sure that my copy I'm working with is the right one. And I'm going to be away from keyboard for just a moment. How long before Microsoft announces one, I wonder? Like full-on announces that it's been